We're in the Nether, right? We've got no Netherite. The chance to find it is quite slight. And despite the lack of night, we'll have to fight mobs that bite. Mining Netherite is grey not white. So let's go mine, we'll be alright. So that was a rather silly introduction explaining the simple fact that we need to mine Netherite. And the reason for this is because since we don't have access to diamonds, since we're challenging ourselves to stay in the Nether for a good few episodes, and in fact we haven't left the Nether yet, we've been trading overworld items with other players. Since we haven't left the Nether, we haven't had access to diamonds, pure diamonds at least. We've got the diamond gear that we got last episode through trading with villagers, and I got that by trading in the gold and the rotten flesh in my gold farm with clerics. But we haven't got pure diamonds, and we need something that makes us rich so that we can trade it with other players as currency. And what's the next best thing to diamonds? Netherite. And of course Netherite is probably even more valuable. Behind me you can see we've got a piglin trading setup that I've set up since last episode, and this simply allows us to get more items from our gold. So we use the gold from our gold farm, and once I've taken on these mobs I'll explain it in more detail. We'll use the gold from our gold farm to trade with the piglin automatically. This allows us to get a bunch of items, one of which is the fire resistance potion, and that's going to be super useful for mining the netherite, since we can use it to protect ourselves from all of the woe. These mobs are crazy. I'm going to head over here. With those hoglins taken care of, I think we should get on back to what I was talking about. So as I was saying, we can use these fire resistance potions to protect ourselves from lava as we mine netherite. So these are going to be super useful, so I've stocked up on those in my inventory. I've also grabbed 4 diamond pickaxes from the villagers so that I can mine plenty of netherrack. And I've also got some beds. I'm going to try out a bed mining technique. So I've got some respawn anchors in case I die, with some glowstone to refuel them. I've got some wool and wood to make beds, because obviously they don't stack, so I don't want to craft them up yet. And I've got some chests to put my items in. I've also made my gear a lot better by combining some of the items together. Obviously there's still a long way to go before it's god gear, but it's a lot better. This building over here, as I was saying, is our piglin trading setup. So I've added some gold into this dropper here, and there's a chest to flow it in if you need to. And what we effectively do is throw the gold in. So if I press this button, the piglin will receive some gold, and then it will throw out the items that it receives into the hopper, and it will actually come out in this bottom chest here. So as you can see, we're going to get some items flowing in. We can just AFK here, and the piglin will throw out items. Obviously, I'm going to expand this in the future with item sorters and multiple piglins, but for now, this works a treat. The way this works, if I just come up here, is that we dispense the item out onto a pressure plate. Once the piglin picks it up through the block, we trigger this torch here, which powers the dispenser and causes another item to be thrown out. Really simple, and the way the piglin's able to pick up the item is by standing on a carpet, so its head is slightly in that block. Works a treat, and it's allowed us to get plenty of fire resistance potions. So now I believe we need to head down to the correct Y level, which is I think just below the lava lakes, and mine a bunch of netherrack, and we can start trying out the bed mining technique. So I'm down here at Y15, the optimal level for mining netherite, and I'm going to be employing a technique shown by Nembom, so check him out down in the description. Probably also in the top right of your screen, there'll be a link to his video explaining how to do this technique in more detail, but I'm effectively going to be employing this technique to mine netherite. So we're going to head under the nether, we turn with F3 and G, chunk borders on, we find a line here, we come over to the line, we dig out as far as you can in one direction, as far as we can in the other direction, mining all the blocks. Then what we do is we place a bed, so I'm just going to mine away all of this gravel. We place a bed at the far end, so we can do that on both sides. This is where I'm worried it's going to go wrong. Then you click on the bed, and we do get set on fire, but this is why we have our fire resistance potions. So we can drink that, and that will blow up some of the nether. We've just got to punch out the fire. Then what we do is we rebuild this buffer up like so. Place the bed as far out as we can, right click on the bed, and we blow up a massive area just with 2 beds. So hopefully this should allow us to get some netherite. I haven't actually encountered any yet, but I'm sure there will be some. Wait, there is some. Our first ancient debris. Okay, let's mine away this, and let's go for it. Let's just mine it. Hopefully it drops. I'm pretty sure you just need a diamond pickaxe. There we go, hidden in the depths. Oh, obtain ancient debris. Let's open the advancements tab with L, go over to the nether, and let's see, where is this? Obtain ancient debris. So we've actually got a fair few levels of the enchantment tree done. We've explored all the biomes, we've ridden a strider, we've done piglin trading, of course, respawn anchors. So what have we actually got left? Uneasy Alliance, rescue a gas from the nether and bring it to the overworld. We can't quite do that. We can use the lodestone with our netherite. We can get full netherite armor, definitely. Can't do that because that requires the overworld. But yeah, there's a bunch of advancements that I'll be aiming for in the future. And then what we do, obviously, we continue. So I'm going to probably do this in the form of a time lapse. We do it on the other side. Build up. Let's see. There's more netherite up there I can actually see. We might as well grab that. Whoa! Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Look how much I've found. There's a bit here. There's 2 bits here, in fact. Let's mine these up. There we go. I'm going to keep the ancient debris on my hotbar so I can see how much I've got. 2 bits here. Let's just mine this one. Probably no more than that. Yep. And there's also a bit up there as well. So let's grab that. I mean, 4 bits of ancient debris. That's enough for a netherite ingot already, so we can actually upgrade some of our tools. This is a lot more effective than I expected it to be. I mean, this has worked so well. We've already got some netherite with barely any time of mining whatsoever. I mean, we obviously are getting through our potions and stuff, and our food, but even so, I mean, this is still great. And so I decided to do the rest of the netherite mining in the form of a third-person time-lapse. And despite the good start, getting a bunch of netherite, as you can see on the screen, it was actually a lot rarer than I thought it'd be. Obviously, everyone knows that it's rare, but judging by the first sort of few explosions, I actually got quite a lot of netherite, but it was a lot rarer from here on out. I also want to talk to you about how I did this time-lapse, and that's using a mod called the Replay mod. So if you just install this client, you can then play in the game, and you can go back in after and plot like custom paths for the camera to follow with custom speeds, and you can change how it goes. So I did that, I thought I'd try it out, and it worked a treat. I then employed this new technique was just by strip mining. Luckily, using the pickaxes I had, I could insta-mine netherite, so I didn't need to worry about that, and they were super cheap to me. So this method was a lot cheaper than the bed mining, since I didn't need to gather beds, but I did find it to be less efficient than the bed mining. I mean, I did also get a bunch of netherrack, which was kind of useful, but eventually I decided I'd go back to the bed mining because it worked a lot better. We're nearing the end of the time-lapse now, but there was one final thing that I wanted to talk to you about, and that is the comment section. I'd love if you could leave a little bit of feedback down in the comments, something that I can improve on. I want to try and improve at least one thing every episode of OmathaCraft so I can get better and better videos, so make sure you leave that down in the comments. So that netherite mining session was fairly successful. I mean, the main thing was that I didn't die or lose any of my stuff. You might notice, however, we've actually got some netherite boots on already, and if you're sneaky and look at my hotbar, you can see we've got a netherite hoe and a netherite axe. And that's because I've been crafting some of my netherite up into ingots and upgrading my tools. I don't want to do it with all of my netherite, since at the moment these are only temporary tools, since we're not going to be able to effectively get this above efficiency 3 unless we get books, and the hole's not even enchanted. But I wanted to mine some trees down, and it made it a lot faster to make these netherite tools, so I decided to do that. I also made some netherite boots, because these are sort of my favourite, my best pair of armour, let's say. Feather falling, protection, and breaking. I thought it'd be worth it doing that. But the rest of my netherite scrap is in here. I've smelted up the ancient debris into netherite scrap. We've got 24 of these, and if you look in tab, you can see in total we've mined 38 netherite at the top of the screen. And I'd say that's fairly good. So using this gold from the gold farm, we can actually craft this netherite scrap with the gold to make netherite ingots, and we can craft 6 of these. Not quite enough for a block of netherite, but it is a good start, and I think I'm going to keep these 6 netherite ingots just as ingots so we can use them to trade with other players. I've also been doing a bunch of tree chopping in between the netherite mining clip and this one, and actually I did a lot more netherite mining than I showed in the short clip after that fact, but it would have taken absolutely ages to make it all into a time lapse, and I'm sure you'd have all gotten bored, so I decided just to do that off camera. The reason I was doing the tree mining was in order to get bone meal, since the next thing I want to focus on is to do with the villagers. And to breed up the villagers we need carrots, and to get more carrots we need bone meal, since we can't grow them naturally. So, in order to get bone meal, I chop down the trees, as I've explained previously, and take the leaves and put them into this composter here to make bone meal. So we've got 3.5 stacks of bone meal, which I think is great. But the side effect of this is that we get a bunch of wood, which I'm really happy about, because you can never have too much wood. So if we check in my wood chest, you can see, yeah, look at all that wood, 4.5 stacks of wood. So at the end of last episode, I alluded to the fact that we might be breaking bedrock, but that's going to have to wait for later in the episode, because I was planning on doing this with another player since I don't have access to the resources to break the bedrock myself. However, I can't quite seem to get hold of them for the time being. So we're here in a creative world because the next thing I want to do is make an iron farm. And since we're in the Nether, we can't use the traditional designs with water, so this means that I've got to design my own design, and here it is. So down here is where most of the magic happens, and then up above are our spawning platforms. We're going to have sort of 2 of these on each side, and I might stack the farm vertically as well, but for now I'll just be building these 2 spawning layers. So we have our villagers on beds here, and we need these to create a village to spawn the golems. And then here we have a zombie which will scare the villagers, which will cause them to spawn a golem. So if we retract this trapdoor here, the villagers will get out of bed, they'll be scared, and we'll get a golem spawning. The golem sees this zombie over here and tracks it towards here. It thinks it can walk over these trapdoors because they think of trapdoors as solid blocks, and it falls down into the drop chute. Now you may notice we've got turtle eggs here. These aren't strictly necessary, however they would improve the efficiency of the farm. This is because we get zombified piglins spawning in the farm as well, it's kind of inevitable. And it will cause them to track towards these eggs and fall down the gap. It's not strictly necessary to have these eggs, however. If we spawn in these zombified piglins without the eggs here, they do just sort of sit here. But when a golem spawns in, what we'll actually see is that the golem will attack these, and it will kill them rather quickly before it makes its way over to the platform. So it works great, and it actually causes our golem to become more damaged, so it dies a lot sooner. So that works wonderfully, and we need the magma block so that we only get the zombified piglins, so we don't have to deal with any of the other annoying mobs. We've got the zombie in the middle, we obviously have the turtle eggs here, and the trapdoors, like so. We have the beds here, because villagers are required to sleep in order to spawn golems. But they can't sleep when they're scared by a zombie, so we have this trapdoor here, which we'll power with redstone at intermittent intervals in order to allow the villagers to sleep. So what we're going to do now is head back onto the OmathaCraft world and scout out a good location for this farm and start building it up. So I'm back on the server now, and I've made my way out to the location where I plan on building it. You might be able to see my base is just over there. And if you're wondering what this is, it's my village breeder failed attempt. So I tried building that. It didn't really go out to plan as much. I do plan on rebuilding a villager breeder at some point in the future, but that was something that I worked on in between episodes, and that's just in front of my bastion base that I'm planning on building in. So we're building out above this lava lake here, so we're in the middle of nowhere, so there's plenty of space for golems to spawn. And I'm just going to pillar out with the blocks here. I've got plenty of fire resistance potions. I've got a little bit of shroom light and some magma blocks and a bit of wood. I'm probably going to need to come back for more at some point, but this should allow us to get a start, at least lay out where we want the spawning platforms. So this is probably far enough out, we can start pillaring up now. I'm not sure what sort of height I plan on building this, but I should probably go up a way so that there's enough room for the golems to die. I want to try have multiple levels though. So first up is the spawning platforms. I've already started building them, and I'm going to build the spawning platform sort of parallel to this bridge here that I built so that it's going this way. I think that'll work well. So I've got a 9-block wide spawning platform and a 9-block deep spawning platform, and then I'll start working on the rest of the farm. So the first platform is now already in place. I've built it up. This is the size of the platform. We've built up the trapdoors in the center as well for the iron golems to walk across. So now I'm going to build up the second half of the farm, which is going to be the second spawning platform. So this is going to be sort of equally spaced. So we've got the center block here, which is for our zombie. Then we're going to have the blocks for the turtle eggs. And then this is where we're going to have our next layer of trapdoors. And then what we're going to do is we're going to build out our platform on the other side, just here. Bam! The second platform has now also been built up. This is going great so far. So for the next stage, what we're going to need is to bring over the villagers and also to place in some beds. So I think I've got to build a big road all the way out to that platform over there. And we're going to do this probably at this height, to be honest with you. That's probably wise. So let's do that now. I'm just going to build out a bridge. It doesn't really matter how we get the villagers over here because we can drop them down below the platform anyway. And we can always raise them up. So I'm going to build this bridge all the way out over there. And then I'm going to start bringing some villagers across. Luckily, I have some boats that I got from Barry when we brought the initial villagers over. So I can use these to easily transport the villagers instead of having to build up a rail system, which would take a lot longer than just using these boats. So I'm going to be particularly honest here and say that these clerics aren't actually that valuable. They are useful. I mean, rotten flesh and gold ingots, but they all have practically the same trades. So there's no harm in using these as our villagers to take out over to the iron farm. Whilst we're doing that, however, I am going to breed up the villagers in this cell. So I'm going to go down and grab some carrots. And we can actually use our bone meal that we got earlier in order to get those carrots. So let's grab 2 stacks of bone meal. We need to grab some carrots, a hoe, dirt. So yeah, I can just bone meal away here and get a bunch of carrots, which I can use for breeding. I can throw these carrots to our villagers, just like so, and then just wait for them to breed. So the first villager is now on its way to the farm. I've actually got to break the minecart in order to let him out. So let's turn on hitboxes, break the minecart. This is why we have spare villagers, and from here on out I'm going to use my fist to break the minecart so we don't encounter the same issue. Let's bring out one of our villagers. I mean, this fisherman guy isn't particularly valuable. He's great for getting campfires, but other than that, not much. But I guess we can get either of the 2 guys. This time we're going to be a lot more careful. I've built up an area around the villager, so hopefully he shouldn't get lost, and we're going to punch him instead of using our sword. Like so. Bam. And then we've just got to push the villager up the stairs so that he can get raised to level. And then once he's at the top, place down another boat and bam. So then we can break these blocks away. And now we can continue on the rest of our transport journey. Ooh, a baby! 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So let's bring our villager down. We've just got to go over the edge here, like so. I'm going to press F5 so I can see more clearly what I'm doing. Head over here, bam, like this. Then break away the boat once again. Whew, that is why we have fire resistance potions. Okay, that was not fun. I so thought I was dead then. Should we see if we can ender pearl over to that island there? Okay, I almost made it. It's good enough. Okay, we're back on dry land. That was frightening. Let's try this again. F3 and B for hitboxes. Break away the boat of the villager. And hopefully, he's got nowhere to go apart from into bed. So I'm hoping when the night comes, which is fairly soon, he should go into bed. So let's head up here. Make sure the villager can't come with us. And let's get his friend. With all the villagers in place, the next part is to get a zombie. And this is actually quite a challenge. We have to use zombie reinforcements in order to do this. So we just got to punch a bunch of zombified piglins until one eventually spawns. And then we need to capture it, hope that it can pick up items, and if it can pick up items, what we need to then do is transport it up there. So it's a bit of a lengthy process, and I just hope that it will happen soon, because otherwise I could be here for quite a while. Our first zombie, here we go, we finally got one. Okay, in the boat. So our zombie is now not going to despawn because it's got some boots on, so that's brilliant. So now we can continue going until we get a second one. A side effect of calling for all these zombie reinforcements seems to be that we've got ourselves a chicken jockey. So I'm going to try and capture this guy so that we can use the chicken to create a chicken farm, because that'll be a great food source. Let's lower him down. Come on. I can't push him. There we go. F3 and B, and we can kill the piglin on top. There, so now we've got a chicken. Hopefully this guy should stick around, and we can use him to generate eggs. So now it's time to take at least one zombie up there. I think I'm going to take this guy with the iron boots first, simply because there's only one of him in the boat, and the other guy, I think, will despawn. Okay, I've got this guy here. He has got some boots on, so he's definitely not going to despawn. And I've built up this pathway all the way back up to the farm. So let's see if we can take him. I've also brought a fire resistance potion, so he should be able to walk across the magma blocks in the farm fine. And we should be able to get him into place. Let's see how it goes. That was a close call. Here he comes. We're at the farm now. We've got to direct him into this 1x2 space for him to walk in. And get ready to splash him with the fire resistance potion. He's got to walk down into this pit here and then head down into there. So let's splash him now. He should be able to survive. And he should hopefully fall in the pit. Come on, go in. Guy! Oh my guy! Please go in. There we go. Yes. And he's in. Okay. We can break away this. And it looks like we also got caught in the fire resistance, which is great. We can put on this here. And bam, we got our first zombie in. So let's put the top back on. And close that up. Hey, the iron golem spawned. Brilliant. Okay, that must mean the farm's working. Now we've got to do is get in the redstone and also the central zombie. And we should have a working iron farm. No, he's picked up my boat. What a disaster. So he has now taken my sword, which is not great. It means that I'm going to have to get a new sword, but it also means he's probably going to kill me, which is not fun. Let's get one of them in. Come on, please. Nope. I just want one of you guys. Okay, we got the guy with the sword on his way, which is good. Probably would have preferred the other guy. It would have made things a little bit easier, but you can't win them all, so hopefully this should be fine. Once again, we're coming up on the farm, so let's hop down here. Oh, he's taking the high route. Okay, hopefully, here we go. Here he comes. Are we just going to stand over here? He should walk right into the trap. Bam. Oh. That was scarier than I expected it to be. Okay, now let's tear all of this out, and hopefully we should have one half of the farm almost working, apart from the redstone. I've cleaned up the central section some, so now the zombie is positioned perfectly in the middle, just like in my testing world. What I've also done is installed a little bit of redstone down the bottom here to pulse this trapdoor so that it closes every now and then to allow the villagers to sleep. And this is a little bit janky and doesn't really work perfectly, so I think I'm going to have to improve that for next time. But nonetheless, it does work and it does allow golems to spawn, although it does slow down the rates of the farm fairly significantly. Once a golem eventually spawns, he sees our villager, or zombie even, and walks straight to his death. So that's going to be it for today's episode. Next time, we're going to install the other side. We're going to get a dropshoot done. Hopefully, we'll break some bedrock. Sorry we didn't get round to that today. And I'm sure I'll have a bunch more plans. I'll probably decorate this thing. So stay tuned for that episode. It will come out next Monday. I plan on having one of these OmathaCraft episodes released every Monday. So be sure to check that out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye, guys.